Hey guys, and welcome back to another Off the Cuff. So today, Russia. Obviously, we heard last night that, or at least in this country last night, that Biden has threatened Russia with various sanctions and a few other things if it keeps pushing into Ukraine. So we know that there have been some tensions for the last few years between Russia and the Ukraine. Russia annexed Crimea, which is a little peninsula of the south of Ukraine into the Black Sea a few years ago. I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and tensions have been rising again over the last few weeks. Well, they never really went away, but they've just been getting a lot hotter over the last few weeks. The issue is that with America being the sort of, I guess, the chief of NATO, and NATO agreeing that they will always stand against Russia has put him in the position that he has to do this. Some people would say that he wants to do this. We have heard over the last few years of many people in high levels of American politics standing against Russia. And look, let's be honest, everybody knows that Joe Biden is not just Beijing Biden, he's also Ukraine Biden. And so is his family. We all know that what came out of the collapse of the Soviet Union was essentially a group of sort of mafioso type people, some of whom already worked in the government, some of whom didn't, and it was essentially a cash grab. You know, when society collapsed, I actually spoke to a Russian about this yesterday in real life, and he was saying that they have a word for it. I can't remember what the word is, but yeah, essentially means there are 10 years where people were just going around going, me and my friends are going to run this chemical factory now. As long as you guys want to keep your jobs, then you will let us take this with no fight. And even if they did put up a fight, the workers usually lost. The mafia type figures usually won. But now we have seen those people rise in age and power. And here we are. So it's looking a little bit worrying. We have seen Russia amassing many troops on the border of the Ukraine. We've seen satellite photos as well to back all this up. The only thing that slightly has me a little bit vexed is that, you know, there's been a lot of anti-Russian sentiment from certain areas of certain politics for the last few years. But yeah, I guess some people will be wondering, like, why is Russia doing it? Like, why are they essentially invading a sovereign country? And so some of you will know that the Ukraine, pre 20 years ago, was part of Russia. Okay, so you can see here, this is the Russian map about 120 years ago. And today, their only access to the Black Sea is Crimean Peninsula, which is this bit here. And then a little bit around it, like this sort of area here. Ukraine is essentially all around the top of the Black Sea, so all the way around here except for Crimea. All the way back to before the Soviet Union, before the communists killed the Romanov family and essentially took power amongst themselves. Before then, it was part of Russia. It means, the literal definition of the Ukraine means at the edge of, so it was sort of the edge of Russia, and it was right just to the north of the Black Sea. Some of the reasons that I think that they want it back is, number one, all but one of Russia's gas pipelines, which is a significant part of their economy, run through the Ukraine. So at any point, they could be tampered with, they could be, whatever, turned off, I guess, for want of a better word. The Ukraine also has some natural minerals that Russia wouldn't mind. And there is also the ever-looming shadow of religion. So the Russian Orthodox Church was essentially founded in the Ukraine. So it's kind of a few different things. The Ukraine, from what I understand, it's about a third of the Ukraine feels like they're more Russian than Ukrainian. They almost feel like the Ukraine is like a fake state. And we saw the last but one president or prime minister, whatever it is over there, was very much pro-Russian, and they had massive riots, and he ended up kind of running back to Russia. But yeah, to now see people threatening involvement on a very high scale is quite worrying. And I just wondered, I wondered what you guys think. It's a difficult situation the more you look into it. You know, at first you kind of think, we should just be staying out of this. Like, I have 2 young people in my life that would be involved in this. Certainly one, if it's in a short term. If this becomes, you know, the next big global war, I guess, then possibly 2. I hope not. But this also means that China, who really have a lot of people trying to block their way to becoming the next hyperpower, is going to be able to run free. You know, if you've got Europe and America and Australia and whoever else being caught up in this battle, Russia have just signed a deal with India, a sort of support deal. I don't know how that would work, because as far as I know, India essentially is allied with the West against China as well. So it's all just a very difficult and worrying situation. But yeah, so this is what one Republican senator had to say about this last night.
Well, military action could mean that we stand off with our ships in the Black Sea and we rain destruction on Russian military capability. It could mean that. It could mean that we participate, and I would not rule that out. I would not rule out American troops on the ground. We don't rule out first use nuclear action.
You know, who knows? It's probably just saber rattling. I know one thing, you know, after we've just come out of 20 years of war in the Middle East, I think it would be beyond disgraceful to send another generation of working class kids into a foreign land, you know, in the name of democracy. I think at some point we have to understand that democracy to these people seems to be a synonym for either the bankers and or just lining their own pockets. Anyway, let's have a look at the introduction between Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden.
Приветствую вас, господин президент.
There you go. Hello.
Добрый день.
Good to see you again. Unfortunately, last time we didn't get to see one another at the G20. I hope next time we meet, we do it in person.
К сожалению, не пришлось увидеться на...
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish